everyone. We're about to go out here and test out my new drone, the DJI Mini 4. I'm going to launch it from the top of the car. I'm going to use the autonomous tracking and let it follow me around the neighborhood and see if it can follow me for a mile without coming attached. It's a good test because that's the main thing I bought this drone for, was the follow me mode, so I can take it on some cycling rides and get some high speed action shots. In normal mode, this drone goes up to 22 miles per hour. In sports mode, it goes up to 35 miles per hour. So I'm looking forward to using the drone and see if it works as I believe it should work. And then I might give a review on it later on. But this video is going to be totally about the tracking of the vehicle and how that works. This section is where I was most afraid that the drone would crash into one of these trees, or that it would lose track of the vehicle because the trees are blocking the direct line of sight between the vehicle and the drone. But amazingly, it handled these trees very well, and it was able to stay attached to the vehicle and continue to track it. I was extremely impressed how the DJI Mini 4 Pro held onto the vehicle and tracked it around these turns. I mean, even around these turns perfectly. And right here, the drone lost track of the vehicle. It became unattached. I don't know, was it because there was another white vehicle trailing me behind me and it couldn't recognize the difference between the two vehicles, or the way the light hit it and it jumped from one vehicle to another vehicle, but it definitely lost track of me. Now I'm manually flying the drone back up to my vehicle so I can reattach the tracking. Drone loses track of my car again right here. So I'll pull over again, manually fly it back up to my vehicle, put the tracking back on, and resume. And once again, the drone loses track of my vehicle again. Not sure what happened this time, because there's no vehicles nearby the same color as mine. There's no trees blocking the obstruction between my car and the drone. And once again, the drone loses track of me. I believe this is either the third or fourth time that this has happened. This is a 1 mile loop I'm doing. So it's going to be interesting to see how many times will the drone lose track of me over the course of a mile. And once again, I didn't see any reason for it to lose track of me, because there's nothing blocking the view between the drone and my vehicle, and there's no trees. I'm guessing it's the transition from the sun to the shade. So once again, the drone loses track of the vehicle. I'm going to have to do some research. This is my first day out with the DJI Mini Pro 4 and first time doing tracking. So it could be me. Maybe it's a learning curve. I'm going to have to practice and try this some more and see if I improve. And I was thoroughly impressed from the last time it lost tracking through now all the way to the end, especially how it gets ready to go around this curve right here and it goes over the top of this house. Now I'm back where I started. That's the conclusion of this 1 mile loop. So me and Caesar are back from our test flight of the DJI Mini Pro 4. Where we test tracked it to the vehicle. We had it hooked up to the vehicle, let it trace us and follow us around the neighborhood for 1 mile. It did okay for probably the first, I would say, 1/3 of the mile, and it did extremely well when I made some turns to the right and flew over the top of houses. That was awesome, actually. But I did notice when I got near other vehicles, it had a tendency to come unlocked off my vehicle and would lock on other vehicles or just not be locked on anything. Then I would have to fly it back up to my vehicle. But overall, it was a good test. I need to practice with it some more. I think I can work with it better after I get some more understanding of how ActiveTrack works here on the DJI Mini Pro 4. I'm gonna try it on my bicycle next, and probably some hiking videos as well, but I definitely want to try it on my bicycle next and see how it works. I got to figure out how I'm going to put this huge controller onto my bicycle. That's the biggest issue with riding on the bicycle, trying to mount this controller. If DJI can come out with something like a watch, a wristband, something other than having to carry this bigger controller, can still control ActiveTrack, that would be awesome. And also I got to figure out how to work the ActiveTrack dial, so I can move the camera into different positions, to the side, behind the car. Directions were popping up while I was driving, but I didn't understand them, and I was touching the screen. I don't know, was that a demo or what, but we'll figure it out. But this was a good first test, and I'm kind of happy with the results. Like I said, ActiveTrack worked good for the first 1/3 of the mile, especially through the trees. I was so shocked that it was able to go through the trees and over the top of the houses, and it didn't crash anything. Most importantly, it didn't crash anything, and my drone is intact. So it was a good test.